The Turks and Caicos Islands are on the road to recovery after suffering a hit from Category 5 Hurricane Irma over a week ago. Premier Sharlene Cartwright Robinson told the visiting delegation headed by CARICOM Chairman, Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, that Turks and Caicos is open for business as life returns to normal.
We are on the road to recovery. We are rebounding, we're rebounding well, but we're going to build back, and we're going to build back stronger.
Cartwright Robinson reported to the delegation, which also included CARICOM Secretary General Irwin Larocque and head of the Barbados-based Caribbean Emergency Disaster Management Agency Ronald Jackson, that communications and power are being restored in most areas. Schools which did not sustain heavy damage were scheduled to open this week, while the government considers a shift system for students of schools badly affected.
Our priority very quickly was to get communications going. We've been facilitating them to get the electricity back up. We're also going to supplement efforts for Fortis, our electricity company. We allowed them to bring in so many personnel, and of course, because the storm also hit Florida, there was a delay in getting trucks and other things coming through, and of course then to get our airports up and going.
Buildings on several of Turks and Caicos archipelago of 40 low-lying islands sustained heavy wind and rain damage. Hurricane Irma damaged 95% of homes on the island of South Caicos, 100% of homes on Salt Key, and about 60% of houses on Grand Turks. Storm surge as high as 13 feet were reported in some areas as coastal and damage assessment continues.
We wanted to be here because we wanted to demonstrate to the people of the Turks and Caicos Island that CARICOM leadership and the CARICOM people as a whole are clearly behind what has taken place here and are willing to work closely with you in the reconstruction effort.
Some of the hotels which sustained damage will remain closed until the end of September, while others will open in October. Beaches, one of the largest contributors to the island's economy and which is responsible for 60% of airlift, was forced to close until December 14th after sustaining major damage. A command center is operating on a 24-hour basis, and several shelters remain open, including one in Grand Turks and another in the largest primary school on the Gateway Island of Providenciales.
When the hurricane came, it blew my house down.
What did you do?
I lived in another house.
You ran to another house?
Yes, I went to a hotel to survive.
I also saw the solidarity of the population, and that's what you want in times such as these. It was heartening to see the children in the shelter, dancing, playing, singing, and it's a good message that people are working with the government as you move towards your recovery and reconstruction phase. So we are here. We will do what we can over the next 2 weeks, and we will continue to support your office.
While CDEMA and the United Nations agencies spearhead initial recovery efforts, the Premier is reporting a shortage of tarpaulin. CARICOM has promised to give full support to the recovery efforts of Turks and Caicos, a British overseas territory, and plans are already underway for a donors conference.
We know that in the coming weeks and months, you're going to continue to need all the support you can get. And one of the things we feel strongly about, while we ourselves will do what we can to help in a limited capacity, we believe that if we pull our collective connections outside regionally and internationally, we can be a valuable assistance to the people of the Turks and Caicos Island and so on.
We're here to say to you, Premier, we're fully behind you, and we're going to continue doing this. We're going to be advocating internationally. We are working on a donors conference.
Yes.
That's one of the mandates of the heads of government.
The visit to Turks and Caicos by the CARICOM delegation on Friday follows a similar trip last Tuesday and Wednesday to Irma-ravaged British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, and Barbuda. Roll Titus reporting.